Hello, party people. Here's the first of your Screencastify videos. I'm going to talk about some components of parties before we move on to political participation and voting and voter turnout. So the last thing I want to say about parties right now is that there's different components of parties. There's actually three of them. You can see right here. There is, first of all, the party in government. Whenever you think of that, think of the leaders, okay? This is all the people that serve in elected positions in the government. So think the president, Congress, any state governments like the mayors of local governments and cities, governors, state legislators. So party in government is one component of parties. Those are the people that are actually elected officials from a party serving in office at that time. Next, we have the party in electorate. So whenever you see the electorate, these are the people that elect these people. So these are the constituents or the voters that vote for the people that eventually serve in office. These people are registered generally as Democrats or Republicans. Increasingly, we have people going through this process of de-alignment from the parties, and that means that they're registering as independents. They're not really identifying with either party. People that are independents, though, tend to be leaners, so they lean right, lean left. So either they lean towards the Republican Party or to the Democratic Party. And then the last is the party organization, and that's kind of what we talked about today and what you did your reading on is how the party is organized and structured. So the party, like I emphasized today, is very decentralized and it's fragmented. So what happens is we have that national level that I talked about, and the National Convention is the highest authority of the party. Then you have the National Committee, and they are the ones that kind of do the day-to-day stuff and are in power when the convention isn't actually going on. You have your national chairperson that's kind of running the day-to-day operations and figuring out what the strategy is going to be for that party. Then you have the congressional campaign committees for House seats, right? And then the Senate campaign committee that deals with helping and supporting people in their party that want to get in the Senate. There's also state committees, local committees, and so all of these are different components that are kind of under that umbrella organization that I was talking today. Now, if you're ever asked what is the main goal or the main function of a party, it's really important to understand. Political parties exist in order to get candidates nominated and to get them elected and serving in office so that they can get their policy preferences enacted and run the government. So previously, there was a lot more caucuses, nominating conventions. Now we see a lot more of the primary elections that happen. And what that means is that in almost every state now, in a majority of states, people actually go and on an election day vote for who they want to get the nomination for that party. As primaries have taken over this election process, it's actually weakened the parties quite a bit. So one thing is they nominate people and help to get them elected into office. Another thing that they do is they raise and they spend campaign funds. I'm going to see if I have another slide here for you. Here we go. They raise money and they spend money on campaigns. As campaigns have become more candidate centered and less, and parties have gotten weaker, this has been somewhat declining in importance. Another thing that they do that's really powerful is they register voters so that they have the constituents, the electorate that will go out and support them in the actual elections and get their candidates elected that they have nominated. They simplify voting for voters. And how do they do that? They provide like shorthand or information that allows people to understand the different issues through their party lens so that they know how to vote. They also try to unify and create a coalition of diverse interests so that they can get elected. So they really want to get these coalitions of people together that might have some common interests, but some diverse interests together to see what they have in common so that they can get them to support their candidates. Political parties also are somewhat of a moderating influence on American government. To win elections, I mean, it's really hard to be extreme. And that's some of the debate that we're seeing right now within the Democratic Party is like, is Bernie Sanders, is Elizabeth Warren too progressive, too left? Is Biden and Buttigieg too moderate, um, too moderate for the electorate right at this moment? Generally speaking, moderate candidates are the ones that tend to get elected, though, because they just can appeal to more people. They reduce the diffusion of power in government. And really what that means is that parties, when they come together, in theory, they can bring government together and overcome some of the challenges with this separation of powers. So if you have a president and a Congress all of the same party, they can actually get a lot more done. Problem is, we have a lot of split ticket voting, we have a lot of divided government and gridlock, and so that just doesn't happen as much anymore. They provide patronage, so they actually reward people that have helped support the party and are true believers in the party's platforms, and they give them a lot of good jobs. We're seeing with the testimony and the critique of Gordon Sondland recently, like he was a party member and a donor, but he really got his position as ambassador of the UN not just because of experience or expertise or position in the party, but because he donated money and he was being rewarded basically for his support of the party. Now, that sounds nefarious. It's a practice that has occurred by both parties traditionally. So we can debate on if that's a good thing or a bad thing and should we change it, but that's how it's been pretty consistently. They do inform the public, like I said, through their party platforms. They provide opposition, loyal opposition to the party that does gain power if they don't, so that they're kind of a check on the other party. They are also agents of political socialization, and most importantly, they provide the people, the electorate, the constituents, with a linkage institution in which people are connected to our government. All right, that is what I have right now for introduction to political parties. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to do another video on voter turnout and voter participation.